Hey guys, I was sitting here setting up for a client session and she canceled at the last minute, but I had already started getting ready and was just about to open space right before she canceled. And so I was like, there's stuff set out here. There's apparently a message meant for someone, otherwise I wouldn't have set up. So I'm just going to get into this real quickly with you. To me, this feels like divine masculine, divine feminine reading. And I was asking, who is it for? And there's no clear answer. It's both. And the feeling that I get is that the line is very blurred between the separation between masculine and feminine. And so it is a message for both, that both are feeling the effects of this. And a big message too is that both are feeling the effects of the other's energy as well without realizing it. Now, we all have both polarities within us, and so obviously you're going to feel the effect of the other one in you, but this is also connected to your human divine counterpart as well. So however you resonate with that and however you're meant to connect with that. Solar plexus clearing right now. I just heard wherever you find your value, there's something about feeling more comfortable in whichever polarity it is. Trouble speaking. So it may be that you are more comfortable in your feminine energy and your intuition and your flow and your emotions and things like that. And so that's where you believe your value is. And I think that it's a fine line, they're telling me, between where you're comfortable and where you sit in order to feel safe. So they're wanting you to just kind of toe the line just a little bit and experiment with the divine masculine energy, or like open up to the divine masculine and divine masculine to the feminine energy too. I'm going to get into it a little bit more here. The first card that we pulled out, and this is the Shaman's Dream Oracle, which I haven't used in a while. It's really, really beautiful. The first card that came out is this Lost in Space, Needing Direction. It's the number 36 card. So again, it breaks down to the number 9. Very, very close to that line. Very close to, I just heard bridging the gap. And Lost in Space too. It's almost like, my last video that I did, I was talking about my starseed self feeling very disoriented and not quite at home in this human body. And so there's a certain level of your consciousness that is getting ready that's trying to be rooted here in your physical body and your human understanding about the way things work and the way the world works, and which is interesting because the World card is the first card here. This is like the current energy. But there is this resistance to allowing that kind of divinity in and allowing yourself to merge with your divine energy, with your divine counterpart. It may be that your counterpart's energy is very, very, very close to you. Very close. And it's terrifying. And you're at the verge of completing a cycle or repeating a cycle. So if you continue to stay in that kind of rigid, fearful, really deeply intimate, this is the energy that's coming in. It's this very deeply intimate, empathic kind of connection. If you stay in a protective energy, a survival mode, and bracing yourself, it's like you're bracing yourself for impact. Divine masculine and divine feminine are both doing this. So there's this barrier in between them right now. It's so thin though. I see the veil is so thin between the counterparts. There is the potential to choose to repeat the cycle, this karmic cycle, which will in turn draw in another karmic partner for you in order to really learn the lesson again, or making the choice to bridge the gap. I hear again, bridge the gap, to find yourself, like you're lost in space, but to identify with who you are in this human body and just be still. And someone posted on my video yesterday, if you haven't seen it, it was just about remembering who you are. And I was telling my story about trying to kind of figure out who I am. And she said that she's like, you're identifying too much with trying to be something and trying to define who you are and figure out who you are, and as if you need the solid definition of it, and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I've kind of been floating around in this abyss, lost in space, not quite knowing who I am. And there is this human need to feel safe and rooted in that kind of definitive definition and idea of this is who I am, even when it comes to like career and things like that. We talk about divine masculine, divine feminine. It's like, this is how I define myself. But that line is very, very blurry, because right now at this point, it's meant to flow back and forth, and it's meant to just be this exchange. It's neither, and it's both. You are not just a mother, you are not just a psychologist or a nurse or twin flame or whatever it is. You are all of them and you are none of them. So what her comment on my video really not struck a nerve, but really resonated with me in a different kind of way. It like made something click. Like, there is codependent patterns that I was talking about too, that keep us looking for who we are and what our purpose is in life and what our mission is and our divine counterpart and all of those definitions and all of those things that we think will make us feel safe and sure and rooted and things like that. But there's something really to be said for just letting ourselves be human and just be. I'm just me. I'm just Karen. I'm just light. And right now, I'm light in a human body. And however that chooses to express itself is how it's meant to express itself. Some days it may be, maybe I get a job as a cashier at a grocery store or something like that. That is me being my light for whoever I come across in the grocery store, or I'm feeding the food with Reiki energy and my light. So am I a cashier? No, I'm light. So I've really been just like sitting in the middle of that and just feeling that comment from her and really feeling into the message behind it. That's what this feels like right now. And you can see all the light coming up from this card, from here in the middle of this card, really trying to send the light through your chakra system in order to help you resonate with the beingness of that and having it apply and translate in a human way without getting you too caught up in your head. But it's like when divine feminine is trying to master her divine masculine energy, or not master it, but try to balance it and to come into contact with it and really start to apply divine masculine energies in her life and really creating action. She's gotten very, very tripped up in thinking and trying, because it doesn't quite come as naturally to her as the feminine energy does. And so it's like you've been testing the waters a little bit and trying to create action, but it has become too much trying, that it needs to be more being. So the energy where you're comfortable, the divine feminine, let that speak. Let that lead where you decide to toe the line. And you don't have to push yourself much past that line. Just bring yourself to the edge and then just be, and let her kind of guide the way. And that's just an example for divine feminine. Divine masculine, you're being asked in the same way. You're used to doing, you're used to the physical aspect of it. You're used to creating action. And there's something so uncomfortable about just sitting still or being or feeling. There's something that you're resisting feeling, and it makes you do something to avoid the feeling. Okay? So it's causing both of you to not quite see what's right in front of you. There's this real just loneliness and worry, and some of you are near breakdown, spiritual exhaustion. Your brain is in overdrive, and it is telling you things that are not necessarily the truth. You've been avoiding the truth by trying to figure out so much, but you've been trying to figure it out because there's this real sense of loneliness. But the loneliness is causing you to not quite tell yourself the truth. It's coming from abandonment issues. It's coming from a lack of connection with your own body, movement. This is also sacral wounding and sexual trauma and things like that, but it's different than that. There's codependency in this card too, but it's in reverse. It's like not being able to see. It's like the aspects of addiction or obsession or things like that. Like you haven't really connected with where that's coming from inside of you, or admitting, yes, I have codependency issues, or yes, that is a pattern in my life, or whatever it is, and how it applies in your life. There is the thing that is most causing all of this up in the head is it's like too many options. First of all, it's too much empathy. It's too much energy. You're so sensitive right now. It's like you're in a million different dimensions all at once. And you're really having trouble rooting yourself here in the 3D. Both of you are. Really having trouble rooting yourself here in the 3D and creating something that feels forced. It feels unnatural because it's not where you're used to being. And you're trying to take on too much of this 3D energy and become 3D and make something happen in person or try to get a job or whatever it is. And you're not looking at the options that being in your heart, that the divine brings you, divine connection, opening yourself up, that the options that love brings you, and not trying and overtrying and fear. You're doing all of this from a place of fear. Now, it's interesting because, like I was saying, your counterpart is very close, nearby. It's like you can feel them. You are energetically so sensitive. It's almost like it's this turbulent force that's coming your way, and it is so powerful that it's terrifying. But this is the force of being guided by divine love. This is the force of true love. True love. And so you're not letting yourself be guided by what would love do, because you're so used to being in what would survival do. What would survival do? And you're trying to survive the onslaught of this really beautiful energy coming in because you're scared of it, because you're not used to that. I'm going to tell you right now, you may not resonate with this, or you may argue back against it, or it may trigger you, or whatever. But if you're watching this right now and you resonate with what I'm talking about, you have not experienced true love. Pure, unconditional love. You have not allowed yourself to. You've been a witness to the vibration of it. You have an understanding of it inside of you, but you have not allowed yourself to truly feel it. And it's completely unknown to you. It's completely unknown to you. And do you hear how my voice just got softer? Just got softer. My heart is racing right now too. This is more like what it feels like. You're going to know it. You're going to know it. The vibration of it may be this powerful force that comes in, but as soon as it gets past that threshold, that barrier that's stopping both of you from letting it in, that's stopping you from loving yourself in that way, that's stopping you from connecting with divine love in that way, inside of you, not just with another person, but inside of you, that's really where the barrier is. It goes from this, because it's like that barrier, it's like I see a wall there, and almost like sound waves would bounce off the wall and come back at you. The flow of it, it's like it bounces off the wall, and the bounce off of the wall is what causes it to be this way. But you feel that. But the energy of it is smoother than that. There's more ease to it. So as soon as it gets past that wall, as soon as you let your guard down and let your wall down, it's going to go from this to this. And you're going to be able to breathe. Oh, God. I just got so emotional. 1616 on my recording. You're going to be able to breathe. Okay? It's coming in, and one of the biggest fears right now or one of the things that keeps you in this kind of survival mode, or like blocking yourself from it without even realizing that that's what you're doing, is it has a lot of the signatures of people from your past who were there who had certain characteristics of this, your counterpart coming in. Now, it could be somebody that you know, it could be somebody totally different. It could be that it's a soulmate, it's a very powerful soulmate, but this is your divine partner that you're meant to be with and journey with for however long an amount of time. We don't have to put any kind of labels on it at all. I just say counterpart because they most match where you are in your life right now, but they are not coming in until you're in a place of true divine love and peace and grace. So the relationship there is going to mirror that, but it's not coming in until then. If you choose for that not to happen, like I was talking about with this, a karmic partner will come in who also has a lot of the characteristics of this counterpart, but they are there to show you the lesson of what is the signature of that barrier? What is the program of that barrier? Is it abandonment? Is it codependency? Is it a really, I mean, they're all beautiful lessons, but it is a really beautiful lesson about just letting someone else love you, or it feels connected to this devil card a little bit, like obsession, or it could be that it's someone, your karmic partner is somebody coming back from the past who you may have identified in a different way. Maybe you identified as twin flame or a catalyst, or, again, whatever that label is, the energy of it is very karmic and meant to show you the lesson of what that barrier is. If at this point you're lost enough that you haven't gotten to a point of being ready for that barrier to come down yet. And that is your choice. That is 100% your choice. Right now, you're very, 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 very sensitive. And it feels to me like it's become very, very, very overwhelming for you too. And so even as beautiful as this energy is coming in, the resistance is throwing you around so much, because your fear of this beautiful, peaceful energy that's coming in, your fear of that bounces off of it, and then it calls in all of these other fearful situations and people and what ifs, and takes you up into your head, and you're in constant worry and out of flow and out of alignment and just complete protection mode. And it's because of how sensitive you are. It's because of how sensitive you are and how sensitive you are to love and the programs around the word love. The word love is programmed with abuse. There were signatures, just like little tidbits, 3:03 on my clock, little tidbits of love in those distorted karmic connections and abuse and trauma and stuff like that. And it presented itself as love and was imprinted with what we believe was love in order to tie us in, because the old template defined love in a different way. This new template that we're meant to anchor, I call it something else. Call it something else. Don't call it love. Call it grace. Call it ease. I have grace and ease coming into my life. That feels really like, oh, what a relief. Some of us really fear the idea of love. So let's just switch the word around. You can see that for some people, the word love would be triggering. But ease and grace feels like, all right, I'll take that. God, if I can breathe, yeah, I'll definitely take that. So that sensitivity is coming from your brain. It's coming from the programs in your mind, being up in your mind, and all of that turning and churning and survival mode, and it's mind programming. And it's speaking through your energetic body. And you're calling in all the energies. You're calling in all the energies that match fear and lack and separation and loneliness and all of those things. You're calling in all the energies from your field, all the people that you will possibly interact with in the next week or so. You're feeling the energy of all of those. It's amplified. You're so tuned in. So just recognize that. And what you can do is shift your brain to understand that what I'm feeling, God, I'm having such a hard time breathing, is actually coming from here. Okay, so the first thing that you say is, it's not mine. It's not mine. It's not mine. And it's not mine to process either. It is not mine to process. And you command your energy space. You do not have to process all of those energies. You do not have to process these energies for your counterpart either. Some of you are doing the work for your counterpart in order to try to break through that barrier and draw them in. That's not how you get them in. You're actually pushing them away even more and building up a bigger wall because your intentions are to bring them to you. It's a codependent thing. You have to do it for you. You have to do it for you. And your counterpart has to do the exact same thing for them too. Okay? You're feeding off of each other, but you're feeding the wall. We need to feed the grace and the ease and the peace and choose not to repeat the karmic cycle. Not to repeat the karmic cycle. There is communication and movement coming in. But I'm going to tell you, when it comes in, it's not going to barrel you over like the implied situations that you've had in the past, like catalyst energies, or even karmic energies, or even sometimes that twin flame energy in the beginning. If it was twin flame, barreled you over, and it was just so powerful and so intense, and this wild ride from the very beginning, and massive magnetism and blah, blah, blah. It is not going to be that. It is going to be movement, though. And some of you have got your heels dug in so tight, right up on the verge of, right up with your face against that wall. But it's like that wall is on the edge of a cliff. So all you have to do is just, that wall will crumble. And things are going to change really quickly. Things are going to change really quickly. there's an element to this resistance that speaks of not feeling worthy. Not feeling worthy. We've got the Seven of Pentacles in reverse here too. That everything I've worked so hard for was just a waste, or nothing that I do is good enough. All the healing that I do doesn't do anything. It doesn't bring them in, and blah, blah, blah. And you guys are on opposite sides of this wall saying the same thing. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. And you're feeding each other even more of it. So if this one is in a little bit of a higher vibration and is healing and building themselves up just a little bit, this one is saying, I'm not worthy. And then it sucks this one in and says, oh, I'm not worthy. It's not mine. That's not mine. That's not mine. That's not mine. I choose to be in the energy of. I choose to say, my divine being, my divine self would never say that about myself. Not only am I worthy, I am. I just am. I am the light. There's nothing beyond that. So our humanness has been feeling and feeling and feeling and feeling and feeling and healing and healing and feeling and healing and feeling and healing so much. It's time to just be. It's time to just be. It's time to be. I'm hearing shh, 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 shh. It's time to just be quiet. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. Stop all those thoughts. Stop all those thoughts. All those things in your head. All those things in your head. They're not yours. They're not yours. They're programs. They're programs. They're whispers from the past. This whole reading right now has been infused with angels who are, when you give the word, will cut the cords to past lives, slavery, enslavement to past karmic partners who you had children with. This is past lives where you actually were a slave and were owned by an owner and was forced to have children with them. And so you're bound to them for this life and the next life and the next life and the next life. That's just a specific example. Some of you have, it's like riders. I see riders from past lives who are kind of like attachments, who trigger this warning system inside of you that it's like false. It's not the truth. It's telling you a lie. When this counterpart energy starts to come in, this lie jumps in and says, this is real love coming in. But this trigger is saying, oh no, that is narcissist energy right there. That they're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt you like all the other ones do. They even look a little bit similar, or, your past partners had a similar characteristic about them that this counterpart has. And this is the trigger that says, fear, 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 fear. You're going to know by how it feels. Remember how it feels. This is different. This is different. The energy and the connection is different if you choose for it to be different. Is this the end of a karmic cycle and the beginning of the divine connection that you've been waiting for? Not just in a romantic relationship either. This is not just about a partnership or a relationship with a person, though for some of you it is. For some of you, that's the most terrifying thing. For some of you, you don't even watch relationship readings or want to connect with, or you're just like, I don't ever want to be with anybody anymore. I'm never getting married again. And just really in a jaded kind of place right now about relationships because of the fear. And it's okay to want to be by yourself. But for some of you, there's an underlying issue that is this wall here. And really deep down at the end of the day, What your purpose really is in life is to come into and model a conscious, divine, romantic relationship to the world around you. But it also has to do with business partnerships. You can have a divinely connected business partnership where your purpose is going to change so many lives because you've come into that energy yourself. So if you're manifesting these things in a partner, or these things in your counterpart or soulmate or whatever it is, you have to be them first. You have to be them. And we know that. So you get to choose. You get to choose. You get to choose. Okay? All right. I knew this message needed to come through. Oh, so the very last card is this, the farther gate. This is where just started pouring down rain right now. Some of you haven't cried in a while. Okay, that's a message for somebody specifically. Some of you have not cried in a while. You need to get it out. You are holding back, just trying to move forward, trying to have positive thoughts, and of course we should do that. But there's something that you're holding back. There is a real release that needs to happen. This unworthiness, this feeling of unworthiness, it's like some of you need to let all of that flow out, and it's going to come out with crying. Like some of you, it's necessary for you to cry on a regular basis. This is how I knew that there is this door opening. It's a portal door opening. This gate has opened. It's open. It's like everybody throws the word union around all the time, and sometimes it's like, all right, enough already, that word, but that's what I'm hearing right now is a union gate. It's a union gate. And it opens for certain people at different times. That's why it keeps being repeated over and over again, because there are waves of people who are ready for this kind of union here, where you can be in the midst of a storm and chaos. And you can be out there just crying, but be totally happy in it and totally at peace with that process and with that release. God, this feels so good to release this pain and not hold it in and just purge and cleanse. It feels good to cleanse. I'm not suffering. I may be sad, but I'm not suffering in my sadness. I'm witnessing it. There are some of you who, number 55 card 2, which breaks down to the number 10. So we're going from the number 9 card to the number 10. And I'm hearing, I have my music on right now, and it's not on right now, but Florence and the Machine, Shake It Out, I think it is. It's always darkest before the dawn. It's always darkest before the dawn. I'm telling you, some of you are right on the verge, so close to this breakthrough, but it is not going to be this massive, like you get knocked over by like a lightning bolt or something, and all of a sudden your life is different. Though maybe for some of you it will be, but not all of you. Some of you, it's just going to be this release. You have this massive release, and then the next day things just feel different. Things just feel different. And there's this confidence in you that says, okay, I'm so glad that I got all of that out. I'm so glad that I got all of that out. For some of you, it's rage that needs to come out. Make sure that you're doing it in a healthy way and that you're releasing through like a sacred temper tantrum. Set it up. Create the ritual for it. I can feel it in there. I can feel it building. Don't just let it explode when you get triggered on people around you or whatever it is. Recognize that that's there. Witness it. Witness that. I don't know where it's coming from. It just needs to be expressed. Set up a ritual. Sit down. Meditate. Feel it. Allow it to build. Set up some candles. Well, don't set up candles if you're going to have a temper tantrum. But pull some cards ahead of time, or set up a sacred container for it. Go out into the woods, make it a ritual like you would for a new moon ritual or a full moon ritual or something. It's something that you're setting yourself up for, creating the intention for, creating the space for, and then go out into the woods and scream and scream and scream until you can't anymore, until you just are so spent. I can feel it, like I right now can feel the release of that. For those of you that are going to go and do that, or if you're in a house or wherever you are, make sure that there's no one else around that feels that it's connected to them or whatever it is, and scream into a pillow. The release is divine and it needs to happen, or it's the crying, or, you set up a ritual with a friend of yours near the water. I see you guys near the river together in sisterhood and laying your burdens out there for the water to sweep away. Whatever it is, do it with intention and allow yourself that. That is self-love too, because after that, it is going to be this confidence that once that energy is released, you're just going to feel like, she was talking about peace and grace. I just really want that right now. I do want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. I am that. I am that. I am that. I am that light. I am that light. Whatever comes my way, I'm gonna recognize that feeling. Divine masculine. Ooh, I see some definite rage coming out in the divine masculine. And that's part of what holds him back from that wall, is he's afraid of his own rage. He's afraid of his own anger and doesn't want to. He has a pattern of unleashing that on people throughout his life. Not necessarily in an abusive way, like physically abusive, but he has a temper and would get triggered and would yell and yell and yell and yell and yell. And God love him, just has never figured out how to express it on a regular basis or release it on a regular basis. Just repressed, and then explosion. He's working on that right now too. And for some of you, you are the divine masculine. So if you're sitting in front of me and you're a woman and you think you're a divine feminine, some of you, your divine masculine in you is more dominant. Well, the distorted masculine in you is. It's all coming from wounded feminine and stuff like that. Okay? So if you guys need help with this, if you guys need more, if you feel yourself just resonating so much and right on the verge, right on the edge, sit and receive the light from this encoded message I hear. And to push past it if you need to push past it. If you have a desire to move forward. If you have a desire to step through this gate. Get in touch with me. Book a session with me. I can help to activate this for you. To bring forward the peace. The peace. Just with my presence. Just like in this video, you let me be the light for you. Okay? All my information's down in the box below. Love you guys.